I'm Ben Tillum. I am here with Kevin Sutherland, who is.
I'm currently the executive assistant to the county administrator for Tompkins County.
You were appointed to a new position starting in December, is that correct?
That is correct. So I'm trying to finish up the budget process for the county. That should be over with November 19th. I'd like to take a week with my family and then move on to the new position with the city.
And can you describe what the new position is going to entail?
Well, the position is titled Chief of Staff, and the job description that was given to me when I applied was kind of threefold. One was to help develop a more advanced budget process. Another goal was to develop a performance measurement system. And third, just help with the day-to-day operations of the city.
When you say more advanced budget process, can you explain what that means?
So the current budget process has, its strengths and weaknesses, and I'd like to try to identify what those weaknesses are and make it a more public-friendly document.
So I assume this would entail, for example, putting stuff online, whether that be options and.
Yeah, so posting online it's already posted online, but I think that the concept of line item budgets, which accountants look at, and I know this is really dorky and goes down the line of a bit nerdy. So I focus on trying to identify categories of accounts and rolling them up. So in the county's budget, we had line items for every position, every salary position, and every different type of equipment. Well, my goal was to just roll up into salaries so you could understand what the whole county salary budget line was, how much we pay in overtime, how much we pay in premium pay, equipment, those types of categories, so you can understand conceptually how big the county budget really is, rather than every single line with a dollar amount.
When you discuss the budget, I know that there's the new 2% tax cap per year, as per Andrew Cuomo. Has that affected the town or the city really in a major way?
So it affects all local governments, including school districts. And I think when Cuomo put this together, it was really to fight against or push back against school districts. School districts tend to have budgets that grow a lot each year. And the school tax bill for a homeowner is substantially larger than the county or the city or a town. The next largest bill is if you're a property owner in Tompkins County, let's say you're a property owner in the City of Ithaca, the majority of your tax bill is school. Then the next largest one is the city, and the smallest one is the county, because it's again spread out across a larger group of people. But the tax cap has really had an effect on an ability for local governments to raise money. So there's only really three places they can use money. It's either they use their reserves, they raise property taxes, or they look to other home rule exemptions like mortgage tax. So when you buy a home, you got to pay a little fee for that. So what Cuomo has done is he's basically taken the threshold at which you could raise property taxes out. He's really been against allowing home rule choices. So the only place you can go is using your reserve. So a lot of communities have actually decreased their reserves and are now just stuck with a shortfall. And the only place they can go now is back to this property tax cap and pass a home rule that allows them to go above that.
Now, is anyone going to take your position that you have now, or what do you do now, and how is that work going to be done?
So back in July, we hired a program analyst to assist with continuing our performance measurement goals for the county. This person has been kind of shadowing me, but there is an internal search to see if there's anybody in the county currently who would like to take over my role.
So your role will be replaced, not just eliminated?
Not eliminated, no. I did develop a lot of systems that kind of help streamline the process, and hopefully the person who steps in can just use those processes and be allowed to be able to focus on other projects as well for the county.
Right. Now, this is a new position, the chief of staff. Why now?
And that's for the city.
For the city. Why,
right.
Why now?
Why am I making the transition, or why is the city doing this?
Why is it needed now?
It's needed now because the city of Ithaca is growing. I mean, you can see all the construction going on in the community. You can see a lot of new businesses, a lot of push to really attract people to this area. And with that comes more responsibility for the city. And the mayor, the position is actually only part-time. But if you've seen how Savante works, he's putting in more hours than 20 or 30 would typically be. I'd say he's probably putting in 50 hours a week, if not more, at a pay that's only part-time. The town of Ithaca has some relationships with the city. And again, I'm not working for the city yet, and I don't know all of the collaborative efforts they've made. But I know that the town pays for some fire service and a few other projects, but I can't really speak to that until I've had more time in the office.
People who are going to be for smaller government, and especially with Ithaca having an issue and everybody having an issue balancing a budget, what do you say to people who say it's inappropriate to add another position?
It's more about becoming more efficient. It's about finding ways to ultimately save money. Sometimes you need to spend money to make money, but it's more like spend money to try to find ways to save money.
Can you discuss some of your credentials and what you've done in the past that might help you?
Sure. And again, I talked a little bit about this. My background with the county has been focused on demystifying the budget process and the budget document so that the public can understand it. I'd like to carry that over to the city. I know that they do a great job as it is, but I'd like to try to find ways to help advance that and help the mayor on streamlining that process, or at least doing some analysis of the information. Another area where I excel has been in developing performance measurement for the county. I'd also like to bring that over to the city. And the city specifically identified that as part of one of the job description elements. So it really kind of fit with what my expertise has been with the county. My background is in public administration. I got a master's at Syracuse University, the Maxwell School, and my focus was on finance. Prior to that, I got my undergraduate at SUNY Oswego, in political science with a minor in public policy and administration.
When you talk about kind of an evaluation, you talk about like merit pay and that kind of thing. How does that come into play?
So unfortunately, local government in New York State is tied to civil service, and it's backed by union.
Right.
It's not possible to give people pay based on their performance. I think that developing procedures to work with staff to see how they're doing on an annual basis gives them a chance to just become better public servants.
And so would there be any consequences or promotions or benefits to being better or worse in any way?
Well, I think the process of documenting how well you're doing means that when there are positions available for advancement, you can look to that person to step into that role. You can also identify, by having performance evaluations every year, you can also identify places where somebody can become a better employee or take training, for example, to gain a new skill. And just by doing that, you build a culture that says, I want to be better, regardless of whether it results in a promotion or a demotion.
I mean, it sounds to me like basically if you're making it obvious, people hopefully then pay attention to it.
Correct.
It's interesting because this week they started weighing the amount of waste in the dining halls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awkward when you have stuff on your plate and now they're weighing it in front of you.
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of goes back to that if you just kind of know about it.
Change the culture. Don't take as much food as, you know.
And I realized how much food I'm actually
wasting?
Yeah.
Well, so then there's always the problem of reminding me of when I was a little kid and I was always a member of the Clean Plate Club.
Mm-hmm.
And so I still try to do that. Even I'll take too much food and then just try to eat it all and then feel awful for the rest of the afternoon.
So when you start this job, I assume there's going to be some sort of learning curve. How do you get to know really what you need to do and kind of find your footing since this is a new position?
It's a new position and, I do know several people already who work for the city. This will be an opportunity to get to know them better and also get to know other key staff members. I think that's what the learning process is. It's getting to know who the folks are around the table, the culture of the organization, how it currently operates, and ask questions to try to understand all that.
So just going into the deep end and getting it done.
You just start swimming.
When you discuss things like simplifying the budget, and does this then have an end game? I mean, is there a time where this position may not be necessary?
That's a good question. I don't think that's true because I see Ithaca growing. Currently, it's a population, when the students are in town, of 50,000. When the students aren't in town, it's roughly 30,000. But you see all these new residential places going up, and there's a huge need for filling those spaces. There's a lot of people looking for to live downtown. And as Ithaca grows, you're going to need more city staff to deal with all the issues.
When you talk about a chief of staff, do surrounding communities, cities, towns, do they have anything similar or a chief of staff? Where does this idea come from?
So sometimes you'll find titles like executive assistant. They'll essentially be have the in-house responsibilities that are tied to the elected official. The city's about the size of which you might find that, and there just hasn't been one.
So this is not really a new idea. We're just finally implementing it here.
No, yes, exactly. It's I think that there was also talk at one point of trying to create a city manager position, but that position would likely cost the city more, and it would have required a change in the city charter. They kind of nixed that and focus more on this role.
Any closing remarks, closing comments?
I'm really looking forward to working with the city. I'm really looking forward to working with the public and advancing the issues of today.
Thank you so much for meeting with me.
Thanks, Ben.
If you are just joining us, we just finished talking with Ithaca's new Chief of Staff, Kevin Sutherland, who will be starting his position in December. For WICB News, I'm Ben Tillum.